Hello, this is Michel Leviathan Sorbet and you are watching a new episode of Wojennik TV. Some time ago I have showed you the content of the core box of Deep Madness, a Kickstarter hit, twice launched and twice funded on Kickstarter. This was one of the most important and most successful Kickstarters which occurred during the last years and which enabled the release of a dungeon crawler game. Deep Madness is a game which will transport us to the sea's bottom, to the underwater Kadath facility, where something bizarre happened, because this facility was supposed to extract minerals and natural resources from the sea's bottom. But during those works, something went wrong. The miners found something bizarre, something strange. This thing had been transferred to researchers who tried to study what exactly it was. But those studies, well, they went in not quite the direction that those people wanted. We start the game entering Kadath, the underwater facility, but where we discovered that the employees, the miners, the scientists, etc., are all gone, and furthermore, the corridors, all the places are transformed. They are covered with flesh and blood. So we are launched into an adventure. We do not know exactly what happened, and we try to survive, because those empty places are not quite empty. They are filled with some monstrosities and horrors. This was the core game, and today an unboxing of the expansion, one of the expansions which were released with the core game. This will be the Uncounted Horrors expansion, which has inside of it all the content unlocked during the Kickstarter campaign. So we will have additional investigators, we'll have additional monsters, additional equipment, additional tiles and tokens. This is all the exclusive content which was published thanks to the additional funding during the campaign. And because the game was such a big success, the content is really impressive, and it was enclosed in this box. Today I would like to show you the content of this box released by Diemension Games. Deep Madness is a game designed by Roger Hall for 1 to 6 players aged 16 or higher. Now let's take a look at the content of the Uncounted Horrors. Here is the box of the Uncounted Horrors expansion, adding additional terrifying content to the already horrific content of the core game. Now, as you can see, this is still a game in shrink wrap, so I'll just open it and I'll take a brief look at the box cover, because it is quite hard to tell what you're seeing with this shrink wrap on the box. So here it is, the Uncounted Horrors expansion, with again a very dark box cover, just as it was the case with the base game. Here we have again some monstrosities on a very dark cover. On the back side of the box we get a description of the content with the list of all the things which are inside, and also a big thank you to all the backers of the Kickstarter project. This box contains all the Kickstarter exclusive elements which were added to the Deep Madness game. So let's take a look at this content and let's see how our games of Deep Madness can be enhanced thanks to all these additional accessories. We get a booklet with the same art which is used on the cover of the box. Here we have the description of all the elements which are inside, some additional rules governing both the adventurers and also one scenario. This is the final ending, the true ending scenario, which will enable us to play one more scenario. So to the 8 in the base game, we get one additional one, which we'll be able to play. Now, the other elements include additional investigators. For instance, Amanda Weaver, which, as you can see, resembles a lot Sigourney Weaver. She is drawn with an artwork which reminds us instantly of Sigourney Weaver. She's a quartermaster. She starts with a utility knife, and look at this, she has an escape value of 5, so she will be really powerful. She will be escaping monsters quite easily. I will free the other cards in order to take a look at all of them. So just a moment. And here they are. So Amanda Weaver, the first investigator. Then we have Charles Ryan, who will be very healthy. He'll get a lot of health points because, as you can see, he is the heavy miner which will be traveling through Kadath. He has the highest health of all the investigators, 3 points of sanity and 3 escapes, so quite high stats, and again 2 additional abilities. So very interesting character. Then you have Dakota Johnson. She again will have also an escape of 5. She'll be an officer. We get also David. Here it's a pilot and with an escape of 4 with 10 points of health. So again, a healthy character. Jacob Clark, a relief expert with some additional stats, with some additional abilities. And finally Priest, which is being teleported from Blade Runner, as I suppose, with again a secretary of 5 and 5 points of escape. So again, a character which will be able to avoid quite easily some monsters. And also an asterisk information about her sanity points, so she's not quite human. Stephen Cooper, who will be starting with a crowbar. He's a physicist, and also some additional monsters. Here we have the first star, who will be a big monster, as you can see, with two capabilities: move special, only 3 points of health, but I believe he'll be annoying. Then we have also an atrocity. 2 points of damage, 6 points of health, so very big monster, quite difficult to kill. Then we'll have also 1 additional card of the Ravenous, Mutilation, which will be the big monster included in this expansion. Glutton, 6 points of health, 3 points of armor, so this one will be a big beast, very difficult to slaughter. The Cannibal, again a monster with 6 points of health, very terrifying also. Remains, 3 points of armor, 4 points of health, and a lot of additional capabilities. And that's it when it comes to those additional cards. Then we get some additional terrain tiles, which will be used when constructing the additional scenarios, some additional tokens which will be used for some of the characters. Additional equipment, for instance, ice pickaxes. This will be a melee weapon with some interesting stats. Some additional cards which will be also used during the final scenario. Of course, the character cards which will be used, the monster cards, so those will be the small ones which we well know from the core game. As you can see, also a letter indicating that this is a card coming from the expansion. And now let's take a brief look at the components, at the miniatures which are added to the game. So I'll free them in order to take a closer look. And here we go. So we get such a monster, which I already showed you on the card associated to it. Again, miniatures of a very high quality, very detailed, very terrifying at the same time, and they really look fantastic on the board when playing. A second monster with some additional arms, as you can see, also very terrifying. The big ones, here is the first one with some wings and a long nail, long nails somewhere here. So very terrifying monsters also. And here is the biggest one, which is inside the box, as you can see, composed of different creatures, as I believe, because we get a big monster and some smaller ones. Maybe they are glued one to another, or maybe this one spawns some smaller monsters. It looks fantastic. The additional investigators, as you can see, also very detailed. For all of you who like to paint miniatures, this will be a real feast, because when painted, those miniatures look absolutely terrific. Some additional components, for instance this one, and also some additional stands which will be used for the big monsters, and additional components which can be used to replace the ones in the original game. Here we get a small miniature. Then we get also those stands which can be used in order to replace the spawn markers. The spawn markers, which were quite confusing in the base game because they resembled a lot the over counters used during the game, so it was quite difficult to spot them sometimes. Thanks to those spawn miniatures, it will be much easier to see from which places on the board those monsters will be spawned. And some additional markers also which can be used to track some info during the game. So as you can see, a lot of additional stuff which can further additionally enhance your gaming experience while playing Deep Madness. That's it when it comes to the components inside of this expansion. Let's pass to a short conclusion. After opening the core game of Deep Madness, I was really impressed. I was further impressed after my first few plays, and I really love this game. So I was really excited to open and now to try the content of Uncounted Horrors. I am very eager to try this additional scenario. I would also love to use the new investigators, who I really love. I like the idea that all those investigators are in some way connected to sci-fi movies or sci-fi pop culture. So we have Priest, we have Weaver, which is Ripley, of course, etc. So I like the theme, I like the idea. The quality of those elements, top-notch as usually when it comes to Diemension games. I will definitely show you this expansion once more during a future review. Up until then, I hope that you take a look at our other videos. We have also some interesting photos on Instagram and some interesting content on Facebook. So I invite you to take a look at our social media accounts and see you next time.